Today, let's look at a word problem. Okay. In this lesson, we're going to talk about how to read and solve a word problem. Okay, so there's a strategy that you can use, and it is RDW. Read, draw, write. Okay, so you read the problem, you draw out how you're going to solve it, and then you write a sentence answering the question. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to read the problem at least 2 times. Okay. Mark has 17 fewer apples in his basket than Paul. Mark has 29 apples in his basket. How many apples does Paul have in his basket? Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. Mark has 17 fewer apples in his basket than Paul. Mark has 29 apples in his basket. How many apples does Paul have in his basket? Okay, so 2 things. I read it twice. I like to kind of draw a picture of what I'm imagining. This relates to the visualization reading skill that we talked about. All right, so I imagine that there are 2 baskets of apples. Okay. I know that Mark has 29. So I know that Mark's basket has 29. And I don't know how many's in Paul's basket. All right. But I also know that Mark has 17 fewer than Paul. Okay, 17 fewer. So if we take Paul's, we take 17 out, we're going to get Mark. All right, so how would we do this? Do we need to add to Mark's or do we need to take away from Mark's? Think about it. We need to add to Mark's. And that will give us how many Paul has. Okay, because if we take Mark's, we add 17, that gives us Paul. The other way you can look at this is that Paul minus 17 equals 29, which is Mark. All right. So this one I did an addition sentence. This one I did a subtraction sentence. This one is going to be easier to solve because it's addition. Okay. So I'm going to flip this around to 29 plus 17 equals my answer, which is going to be Paul's number. All right. What I'm going to do is I see that 29 is almost 30. So I'm going to take 1 away from 17, leaving me with 16. This is a number bond. And I'm going to add 29 plus 1 equals 30. And 30 plus 16 equals 46. So that tells me the missing number is 46. All right, then I'm going to go back and read my problem again and see if 46 makes sense. Mark has 17 fewer apples in his basket than Paul. Mark has 29 apples in his basket. So if Mark had 29 and Paul had 46, does that make sense? Mark has 17 fewer in his basket than Paul, and Paul has 46. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, how many apples does Paul have? So we read it, we drew it out, now we're going to write a sentence. Okay, so the question is, how many apples does Paul have in his basket? The answer is Paul has 46 apples.